Yep.
You got the everything going set up, huh?
Yep, just did.
Alrighty, well, welcome YouTube denizens and other members of IGC to this next issue of Masks New Generation, our superhero RPG for Critical Impact. Missing a couple of players right now. Hopefully they'll filter in as we get started here, but we're joined by Jalim, Voidspawn, and Emily, which is fitting because all of them probably have some things to sort through now that well, the world's kind of gone to hell in a handbasket. So we left off last week's session with a pretty big event that is probably going to shape Halcyon City. You guys are flying away in a Void Spawn spaceship, but behind you in a dramatically appropriate angle, most of the heroes of the city and the entire H2A building are being obliterated with a mind control laser, courtesy of Dr. Young.
Hmm.
So
Well,
probably we're going to maybe move time forward a bit, but before we do, I'd like to kind of know how to do so. What are you guys thinking your next immediate course of action is going to be?
um, I would suggest that we head right to Emily's home to drop off her father's. Get them, make sure they're secure first, and see if there's any carnage at the house.
All things considered, I think they may want to also be in on the conversation, considering they're probably one of the only few adult heroes who weren't affected by the beam.
So, we'd probably be explaining more as we flew back, probably.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Definitely at the start of the flight, it's more hectic and chaos, and at least Scott's having trouble controlling his breathing and all of that. But as you guys get closer to the house, and definitely if you start landing, and they kind of have come more to their faculties, the questions will definitely start flying. All kinds of Emily, what the hell is going on, and different permutations thereof.
So, as they're coming down, would you like the short version or the long?
Uh, um, Not Scott. What's the other one's name? Hugo.
Hugo.
Will pipe. Yeah, sorry. He will pipe up and basically say, "We just want to know why the H2A building just got shot by a laser when most of the heroes of the city were in it."
See, that was a ploy by one Dr. Young of Parasol. He has the ability to mind control people with laser beams. So it's
You,
a. Go ahead.
you see the like just not comprehension on his face as he just cocks his head and says, "You mean like the solar power company?"
Yeah. So you should probably know something about Parasol. They're not all squeaky clean that they present themselves. Um, do you remember all the plant monsters, all of the chaos, all petty thefts? Well, not petty thefts, but high caliber thefts and whatnot that were oh so conveniently stopped by their yes man.
They look at each other, look at Emily, and kind of, uh, extend their hands and please explain what what she's talking about.
Yeah. Oh, your turn.
Okay, there's a lot more to Parasol out, like most a lot of bigger companies. Like, you guys should know that. You're the adults. They have their hand in a lot of cookie jars they shouldn't have.
Right, but I mean, one of the five-star heroes of the H2A, Apology, is like deeply involved with them. I can't imagine he'd let anything shady go on in a company he's so in bed with.
He might not know.
I'm pretty sure he knows.
Well, then they might be paying him really well.
I mean, you have no idea how deep Parasol's pockets are.
Let's say I believed you that Parasol was doing things below the board. It wouldn't be that hard to believe, but probably unlike most of you, I've met Apology. He's the real deal. He's a real hero. I don't believe for a minute that he's doing anything villainous.
Well, yeah, what hero would ever allow their image to be tarnished?
I mean, he might not be doing it on his own accord. What anything he's doing wrong.
So, how is it that all of the heroes in the city get taken by surprise when a couple of teenagers know that Parasol's this secret mind control force?
I used to work with them, so, you
That
know.
they exchange glances. Yeah, that explains a lot.
That and out of character, what was the old shinobi's name? Shadow?
Uh, Shadow Shinobi, yeah.
Yeah, also, Shadow Shinobi told me. That's where I was when I had to split from you guys.
Void Spawn. So Emily probably hasn't heard that name. Void Spawn, you would have definitely Wikipedia'd them. Probably very old 5-star hero that's been around for a long time.
Yeah, you just hear my voice come over the loudspeakers. You met Shadow Shinobi?
Yeah,
What was he
the
like? Totally ignoring all the shit that's going on right now. My interest is piqued.
old and annoying. I had to go through so many freaking hallways just to talk to him.
Interesting, interesting. Taking mental notes as though that's anything important.
You see, Scott scratch his chin and say, "Yeah, okay, maybe she did see the Shinobi."
But
Okay, but that didn't quite answer my question. I just don't understand how you guys found out about this and no one else in the city did.
so here's the thing. Like I said, I worked for Parasol, so and I kind of know Sago Belladonna. She was my teacher after all. So I kind of had an idea of what they had planned. So the thing is, like, I left them a while ago, so because I want to know part of that. So
And
that's
you
how I
guys,
know.
you see Hugo look at Emily and say, "And if you found out about this, which details are still fuzzy on that, why didn't you tell us about it, Emily, or anyone in the H2A?"
If I may cut in, would you have believed her?
I assume you guys have some evidence or something to back it up, don't you? You're not just believing or depending on the words of a couple of teenagers.
We do have some chemicals left over.
What sort of chemicals?
Something
It's
that's either meant as an augment or a mind control.
Yes, Dr. Young had apparently been having workers at the water treatment facility, presumably under his control or at least in his pocket, uh, applying certain chemicals to the water supply.
You also at this time, Mara will pipe up and say, "Look, she's not here to speak for herself, but I can say at least Neri has been petitioning the H2A for months to do something about Parasol, and they just ignore her every single time. Alright, so Scott will, again, he's still kind of mostly got eyes just for Emily as he says, how did you find out about this? Not that she worked for them. How did you guys find it?
I suppose the start of that would have been kind of stumbling across the water treatment facility, no?
Emily?
Sorry,
Is your
I'm sorry. Yeah,
yeah.
I think it cut out. Yeah, that was. See, I don't know how much to tell you because I don't know how much I'm going to get grounded.
Oh, hon, just spit it out. At this point, really, even if they do ground you,
Yeah,
we're all in that same boat. You might as well just all say everything.
you see Hugo smile a bit, like indulgently, and he's like, "Honey, we're a little bit past the grounding phase here. We might have a serious issue. Let's just lay some cards on the table, okay?"
We might have. Didn't Highlight found that phone, right? And we used that to get in?
Highlight found a phone. Out of character, I don't know what you're talking about.
He took a phone in to the water treatment plant to record the one guy skulking about, right?
Yes.
Which turned out to not be Marrow, but
I'm just having a hard time remembering because I wasn't involved in a lot of it because that was when Emily got I think she got hit real hard or something.
Oh, so you mean like how you first found out about the water plant?
Yeah, I'm having a hard time remembering.
So I guess to reiterate or rephrase, your dad's basically more asking you like to kind of come out with it, like what have you been doing that's let you find all this information out?
Okay, I was trying to remember like what did we do at the water treatment plant? I don't know. Okay, well, see, it's kind of our damn dog's fault. Not Gillem's dogs, but the dog. I found him in a park, and we became friends. And then a big monster started attacking the park, so I had to help. And now we're here, and I'm kind of hanging out with these people all the time, doing hero things in my free time.
You've been doing hero things because you adopted a dog?
Well,
Who the
no.
5. Go ahead, sorry.
You're okay, you go ahead.
So, you know the 5 dogs that I have?
Scott will scoff. I thought it was a lot more than 5.
Well, 6. Chico tends to get in places where I can't reach him. But,
Chico is half of a dog.
yeah. But, the thing is, that's how we kind of got first met as a group, by stopping a guy called the Dog Whistler. Yes, that was his name.
Hugo, I can't tell if they're fucking with us or it's just been a really long night.
See, and this is why I don't tell you anything, because you're not gonna believe me anyway.
Okay. So you met some dogs and started hanging out with obviously a bunch of bad influences. Like we couldn't have figured that out ourselves. And that led you to investigate the dirty laundry of one of the biggest companies in Halcyon?
To be fair, that's on me.
Well, I mean, the plants that attacked us kind of started it. Because they were bad, and we were trying to figure out how they kind of happened, and then it just kind of went from there.
Well, if it is true that something dirty has been going on at the H2A, then I can see why they weren't able to get much headway there, but honestly, just a couple of kids being the only ones who knew, I mean, I don't know what we could have done differently.
Besides, don't you find it strange that every single hero is just called in randomly for a grand announcement? Normally they don't. Doesn't the H2A actually like set a date for important announcements instead of launching them impromptu and all that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll give you that tonight was weird. I mean, we got called in ourselves shortly after lunchtime. I mean, Hugo was still asleep. And when we got there, they were talking about how they were making a lot of changes, and if we wanted to stay in our roles, we'd have to get with the program. And we were just about to decide if we wanted to even stay and work with them anymore when, well, that went down.
Hmm.
You know, come to think of it, thinking back to the plant monsters, I don't think we should look over the fact that the plant monsters seem to have had the intention of attacking the president of Parasol Solar.
Okay, out of character point that I don't know if I ever made abundantly clear. Um, you looked through Neri's files, correct?
Her rogue experiment.
Yes.
She had been, even before she broke Marrow out of prison, she'd been letting Parasol experiments out of containment. Her very first target was the plant monster.
Okay.
You would have seen that in the personnel file that she had.
So was she the one that directed it to do that? Or was it just like running rampant? That's what I'm not clear on.
She would not have said that like in her notes. I totally sicked giant plant monster on Parasol HQ, but you could connect the dot.
Okay. I didn't know if it was even a controllable thing or if she had just like let it out of its cage.
Well, Jalim could probably voice some opinions on that, but generally speaking, without certain gifts, it's very hard to control Belladonna's experiment.
Right. You basically need to have like a plant master ability like mine, or you have to have some kind of like control switch on them.
Something to ask her about when we meet her again.
Hmm.
All right, so okay, so if you guys think apology is dirty, and I still don't know if I believe that, but if he is, he's definitely in bed with Parasol, and he's now the head of the H2A. So what is that? Where does that leave the city here, kid?
Uh, Pretty much defenseless against the overlords unless they start a war between them with them.
Wait, okay, how did the overlords get involved in this too?
Oh, didn't you know they're coming by in at least 1-2 weeks? I think. What did highlight say?
Yeah, I mean, we knew that. I mean, the governor's been asking for them to come for, I mean, ages, ever since. Well, you kids don't need to know. But anyway, I knew that, but how are they involved in this parasol business?
Proven that they're right. If a hero under a mind control goes on a rampage, doesn't that the overlords are right in their way of thinking?
So you think Parasol's end game here is to tarnish the reputation of supers?
I mean, it would make sense. Why else would you mind control everybody?
Well, I gotta admit it's not a bad plan. I can't see what their end game is personally.
Hmm.
Given their methods of research, perhaps they simply don't want the oversight and the control that supers can enforce on them, defeating their experiments, etc.
So I'd say at about this point, you guys would probably have been able to land the ship and get down to the ground again. Upon quick inspection, the house is still standing, and it doesn't appear to be like piles of bodies everywhere or anything. Jill?
Mm-hmm.
The neighbor still standing at the end of the block.
Do you wish to go check?
Well, I don't think I know about that, so not me.
Right. So if no one does, then you will have to wait and see, perhaps. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, the house is pretty much as you left it.
Jillian pulls out her whistle and just like gives it a quick like toot to call all the dogs over.
Okay, Dr. Doom toots as he pleases. All right, yeah, so the dogs will assemble, and they all seem fine. I'm assuming Seymour will probably come by as well, and he will also report that no one has attempted to force entry, but that there have definitely still been shady folks walking around, boss.
Hmm. Thank you, Seymour.
I didn't get to eat anybody. It sucked.
Don't worry, I have that. I made more of that protein that you like. I'll give you some.
Excellent overtime pay.
And as she says that, she'll just casually look at Jillem's father. Is like, that's how I feed him. He can't really get his nutrients from the soil, so.
Yeah, so obviously we've just got to accept that our lawn has become a den of monstrosities. But yeah.
Dad.
All right, inside, and they're kind of adulting a bit now and taking charge and leading the kids inside. Probably gonna put you all like in the kitchen. Maybe Hugo starts making some mugs of hot chocolate, but Scott's like locking the doors, bolting the windows, that kind of.
I like to imagine as Void is leaving the ship, he'll just like pull out like a traditional key fob looking thing, and it does the alarm. Whoop whoop.
That's
Oh,
good. That's very good.
so I have to ask, why did you guys see it prudent to destroy Emily's car?
You destroyed the car.
Not Emily. Emily parked it properly. It's these two. She points at Muscle Sheep and Muscle Fox. Why did you end up punching out her car? I'm confused at that.
They had both ran to the park after they did that.
Oh,
Oh, speak of the devil.
hello.
I might have forgot.
Hi, Ryukin.
And I may need to have done some shopping. Can wait till tomorrow.
So then she'll just point to Asner and say, so why was the dog and why was the fox punching Emily's car?
To be honest, I am not entirely sure. I was just told to get out of the vehicle, and so I did, and then they began destroying it.
I'd imagine the comic would have like a flashback panel type of thing of just Muscle Fox destroying the car, just like yelling about sharpening his sword on the steel of its chassis.
Muscle Sheep shouting, "You do not have a sword!"
Jilem will just give you the most incredulous, like, what the hell look. Like, really?
And just shrug.
So round table kind of happens. You know, kind of secure the place, make sure everything's okay. You know, maybe like turn on the news or something, and sure enough, there's not the crazy emergency alarms that you might wonder might have gone on, but there is reporting on pretty much every major news channel that's talking about big leadership shakeup at the H2A, apology appointed youngest primor of the H2A ever, that kind of thing.
Nobody's talking about the giant laser beam, I assume.
Apparently not. You might find if Highlight was there to speak for himself, he might point out there's like some Twitter posts about it, but most people seem to be taking it as like a light show fireworks type of thing more than something to be concerned about.
Jilem just rolls her eyes.
Is there any footage of that having happened?
You would not see it on TV. It probably is on the internet, but I would imagine you would see maybe if there were 20 copies of it within a few hours, about 15 of those have been deleted.
Yeah, my
Deleted or taken
main
down?
curiosity. Yeah, my main curiosity with it would be to see if it's possible to slow the video down enough to tell if the beam is going up or down. Like, is it coming from a satellite or is it coming from beneath the Earth?
Do you want to mess with another phone, Void Spawn?
Uh,
Are you going to
assuming
enhance?
anyone will allow me to.
I'm pretty sure Highlight won't mind. You can afford it.
Oh, I was gonna say Highlight would definitely not.
Someone
I'm
distract Highlight and I'll swipe it from him.
Directly engage the thread.
well. In that case, Jillian would have just like blown her whistle for the largest dog. Hang on, let me pull up the sheet. The largest dog, the Alaskan Malamute Samson, to just tackle Highlight.
Okay, not kidding. Jalam rolled to directly engage the threat.
Okay.
You get a +1 for sheer Malamute size,
And what is the roll?
plus danger.
Danger, and it's with a +1, correct?
Correct. Alright, so yeah, much to his protests and promises of future retribution, Highlight is underneath a Malmoon.
Who looks very happy with himself. And Jilem hands the phone to Azur, or to Void.
I'll attempt to slow down the footage and see if we can see the movement of light.
Okay, so is this an instance where you have to do the mutating powers thing, or is this within your normal scope?
If it falls under the scope of my alien tech move, it's a normal thing.
Okay, yeah, you can roll plus freak then.
Hey, it
Oh,
actually worked for once.
okay, so you have to choose if it's going to work exceptionally well or it becomes additionally durable. You could give highlight like a super phone.
Given that I'm trying to see the movement of light, I think exceptionally well is probably the only way that's going to happen, so I'll go with that one.
Okay, so you've done this once before to inadvisable effect, so perhaps you try to be more careful this time as you combine the circuitry of the human technology with your own body and you use your powers to try and enhance it and improve it to beyond standard ability. Um, it doesn't terribly change the appearance of the phone, but you do. Uh, you're able to massively manipulate the video feed that you have access to. You can slow it down. I don't know, view it from different angles that the original recorder didn't record it from, that kind of thing.
Spooky.
So you have the tech to work. If you want to try and investigate that particular question, can you roll to assess the situation?
Sure. Ooh.
Yeah, so this is a good example of a team move opportunity.
How do we do that again?
If you can narratively explain to me how you can help with this, you can give him a +1, which will turn that into a success.
And he's fumbling with the phone, right?
Yeah, trying to deduce exactly how this attack happened.
Well, Emily would have. She's in radio TV, so she would be a little bit better at maybe CSI. The footage, you know how they do on TV?
Zoom and enhance.
Yes.
Okay, I'll let that slide. You start looking void spawn and Emily does. I mean, I'm sure both Emily and Jalim are leaning over your shoulder, like one on each side. And, you're trying to look at this from a scientific observational angle, but Emily says, well, if they were going to film this action shot, they would try and look at it from this perspective. And she shifts it over, which gives you just enough of a view to kind of make heads or tails out of it. What you see is, let's say there was maybe a manhole cover on the street, sort of to the left and outside of the H2A building. There's different water drain grates and that kind of thing. The light for a split second comes out of those holes before it encompasses the building.
Well, there is our answer. If there is a means of stopping this from happening a second time, it will be underground.
Which would generally fit with your experience in Dr. Young's lab. Alrighty, well, I think at about this point, Scott would come back looking a little bit frazzled and say, Emily, did you talk with the neighbor today?
Yeah, he came by and tried to force Gellum and I to go with him to the H2A, and that was why I ended up taking my car, because he didn't trust. He wasn't gonna leave us alone unless I told him I was driving myself. He was being really weird.
And creepy. Also,
Yeah?
here's something that will let you know that they're under a mind control effect. Look at their eyes. if they have a kind of golden, like glowy yellow glimmer, they're under the control of Young, or they're at least under his influence.
Well, I can't see his eyes, but Mr. Durand is at our front gate, and he's not moved for the past 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, he did that too. He was super insistent on taking Jalim himself.
Did you just third person that?
God damn it, I meant to say Emily. Shut up. Tired. Like, he was super insistent on taking Emily until, she insisted she could drive.
Okay, so we are not going outside the building for tonight then. It's a shame. I always thought he was a good guy. I liked
He,
having
prob-
him over for
he probably is. He's just not himself right now.
So, last little bit of housekeeping then before some time moves ahead. Uh, assume that you guys will finish speaking, hash out some more things with the parents, but eventually it's late. You guys are going to go to bed. Uh, what is your immediate course of action, so to speak?
Um,
Suppose the first order of business is to get everybody together so we could actually talk about what's going on since we're missing people.
right. And Jillian would probably want to bring in Sheeb and Mosel Fox, but she can't really call them with the whistle. She doesn't know how to specifically call anyone.
That's a fair point, correct? Okay, we'll do that then. I'll say, you know, the comic would move forward with some fade to black panels. You guys would probably start heading to bed. One of the probably the last panels that night would be, a shot of the uh, of that kitchen room table with all the now vacant seats with the hot chocolate mugs in front of them, and there's just Emily left, and her two dads are by her, kind of like one hand on one shoulder, the other one's got a hand on her head, like ruffling her hair type of thing. Kind of a wholesome shot to end out the night. But then we will reconvene sort of in the back in that room the next day. You guys have kind of turned this into the war room as you fortified it a little bit. And Mr. Durand is still on the street corner. He apparently has not slept. And you guys have summoned as many of your allies as you can. So, Highlight's not there to speak for himself. Ryukin, are you around?
Yes, I'm here.
Well, then I'd like to imagine when you got the call that you and your brother came running from the park to Emily's house.
Yeah, I don't think there would be any sort of distractions, as it were.
I will say something. Make me a plus freak roll, Ryu. Oh boy.
She was a freak.
Okay, so you would never have noticed this without your dog enhanced senses. But over the course of the night, you could have sworn that one of the squirrels was watching you.
Then he's become the prime target for chasing.
Yeah, I'm sure you did your best, and you probably chased him for a good portion of the night. But whenever he got a chance to not run for his life, he was watching you, which is really weird because normally squirrels learn to fear you.
That squirrel is an agent of the mailman.
It must be.
Okay, well, you will assemble. Mero and Titania are probably still there after the night before. It's probably a good thing that you guys come from a nice background. Emily, you probably have lots of spare bedrooms in your house. And,
Yeah.
and eventually, probably the last person to arrive is going to be Neri, who will come in the back door looking pretty awful. Like they didn't sleep last night, torn up pants, their hair's a mess, probably smell because they've been in the sewers a bit, but she will enter and slump aggressively onto the dining room chair.
Um, you need a shower. Like Jillian
Yeah,
just says that outright.
and you need a bigger brain, Jalim.
Well, here's the thing. If you need it, shower's open.
Look, I'll take care of that in a minute. I think we have some more important things to talk about right now than my physical appearance.
Alright. But anyways, she's gonna wait for Abe and Fox to show up.
Yeah, I'd say they came in and much to Emily's dad's displeasure, they let them in the building. So yeah, Muscle Sheep, you're inside a house. That's kind of a new one for you.
Like to imagine the door frame just slightly bent out of shape now.
He is
I would
too
go in
wide.
sideways.
Too wide. He's a
And
thick
I
boy.
wipe my paws.
Probably chew on the coat rack just a little bit.
Maybe we get to where we're going, and I've got like one of Emily's shoes in my mouth.
Nice. Okay.
She has to she takes him by his like bandana around his scruff and is like, no. Those are
But it's tasty.
my volleyball shoes.
But they're tasty.
Ah, brother, are volleyball shoes the secret to unlocking further powers?
No, they're not the secret to anything. Get off.
No,
Let
they are
go.
tasty.
No.
I'm gonna like spit it out and then hand him the other shoe. Here, try it.
No.
He does that like left side of the mouth, like just chewing it over that side thing that dogs. Ah, yes. I see. Flavor is bracing.
Oh no.
Um, hmm. She just turns to Scott and Hugo and just says, "I'm so sorry."
Okay. I mean, we've been doing this hero thing a while, and honestly, not the weirdest thing we've ever seen. Pretty up there, but not the weirdest. Okay. Did you have anything specific to say to the dogs, or were you just waiting for them to be there? Jill?
She'll just go right and say, "So, question for you two. Why did you decide to beat up Emily's car?"
I told you. It's because Voidspawn crashed it. Insurance man wouldn't cover. But accidents such as monster striking car, insurance man would cover. Muscle Sheep hears many things in park.
Huh.
The bipedal dog considers insurance fraud. That's interesting.
Insurance Man is another enemy of Muscle Sheep. Though I have never seen him, many speak ill of him in the park. Therefore, he must be a bad guy.
A domestic villain, but a much hated one. I'll give you that. Neri will roll her eyes and just cough and say, "So I assume that despite your levity, you all understand the seriousness of what went down last night." Someone does.
Sorry, let me turn that off.
Well, in case it hasn't sunk all the way in yet, most of the heroes of the city are now part and parcel owned by Dr. Young of Parasol Industries.
Oh, I brought them up to speed last night.
Good. So, Jalem, with your infinite wisdom, have you deduced why Parasol wanted to control almost all of the cities or heroes in Halcyon City?
Well, I have a working theory, but it's probably not right. But for me, it was the coincide visit from the overlords.
Well, if that's the case, they're certainly making some changes. Don't know if you've kept up with the news, but Apology's been busy in his 12 hours of leadership.
Oh, I know. He's. Wait, what did he do now? Or what has he done?
Uh, Neri will take out her phone and show it to you and probably indicate for some of you, the rest of you to check, and a lot of you in your whatever Gmail account or Outlook, whatever email account you have, probably has an official email from the H2A inviting most of you to be junior partners at the H2A's new and inaugural Young Heroes program.
Hmm.
General stuff like summer camps and training programs, mentorships, help you brighten the future tomorrow, today, that kind of.
Voight scrolls through the various emails and announces, "Apparently there is a prince who needs my assistance in moving some money around."
Don't. And first block the sender and delete the email.
I fucking love you, Void Spawn. Okay, she will do that. She will also, in the same time, probably return your phone to you, Azur, as she had previously been keeping.
Ah, yes, that's right. I almost forgot about that.
And she will meet your eyes with that, but give you body language hint to wait to speak about that incident until later.
Okay.
Wait, where's Titania?
Sorry, she's at the table as well.
Oh.
You've pretty much gathered every one of your allies in this room.
So. Okay, first things first, I think we can all agree that this, she refers to the whole young heroes thing, is BS and no one should jump at that. Correct?
But we could be heroes.
Marrow scoffs and says, "Oh, but I was really looking forward to the free breakfast."
It is worth noting that if he does have control over everyone that showed up there, the email seems unnecessary. So perhaps there are more youth that are not under his control.
You would remember last week there was that invitation call out, a bunch of young heroes inviting them to come that night. You're sure not all of them did because you didn't see them there. I would say, for record keeping, the only people who didn't receive that email, like of the kids at this table, Muscle Sheep and Muscle Fox didn't because they're not people, according to official records. And I would say, Titania probably didn't.
If he were here, I would see if Highlight could use his social networking to reach out and try to find other heroes who did not attend. Or other
Okay.
young heroes, rather.
I will make a tentative roll for him now, but when and if he comes tonight, he can delve deeper into that and see if he can get more information. But I think he does have a move for something just like that, actually. So, da-da-da-da-da. Well, let me mark potential for him. But you ask him, he'll look into it. But the initial reaction from him would definitely be that there are people, but it seems like if there were a lot of people that didn't go, not a lot of them are boasting about it online right this second. It's a kind of keeping it to themselves kind of deal.
Okay. Oh, would he have brought the laptop with him?
Yeah, we'll assume that he did. It was left in his dorm room last I checked.
So we should definitely try to. We have the key thing too, so we should definitely try and get into that.
Well, if you would like to go ahead and start working on that while the meeting goes on, you can.
I'll leave that to our two resident tech experts.
Okie dokie. So, Neri will probably continue then and say something along the lines of, on top of that, he's dismissed a lot of the older members of the H2A. Shadow Shinobi retired this morning. Dr. Mobius has been relieved of duty. Pretty much any of the old figures are on their way out the door by noon today.
Do you suppose any of them are or have managed to escape his control?
I don't know if I can safely say. I will. The only one I can probably make a good guess on is Shadow Shinobi. He doesn't seem like the type, from the personnel files I've read on him, to go quietly, as it were. He's lasted a long time and he's a bit too tough to fall that easily.
It may be worth attempting to reach out to some of them, as long as we keep things quiet.
Could very well be a possibility, but I think we're not going to have much luck doing anything about this until we can, well, be certain that Parasol's not going to mind control anyone else wherever we go. The only reason I was able to pre-warn you guys about the attack was because I knew to be looking for it.
We were able to discern that that beam of light came from the sewer system.
That doesn't surprise me. Most of Parasol's facilities are underground. They're all over the city. I mean, built into the foundation of.
If it is something that can be moved around through the sewers, it should be technically possible to find it and disable it.
Her eyes kind of perk up at that, and she'll open her own laptop with the files that you had looked through once before, and kind of she'll be going through them. I definitely have the locations of a lot of Parasol facilities that I've found and knew about from before, but there's plenty that I don't know about. If only there was some central place we could find their directory at.
May have information in that laptop if we are lucky.
Oh, I'll definitely have to take a crack at it. If if we can find where they're keeping it, then you're right. Maybe we can destroy it. I don't know if that would free the people he's already got, but maybe it would at least snap them out of.
If nothing else, it would at least prevent any further conversions. Not that there are very many left to convert.
I can't say that I know over much about what Dr. Echidna was up to, but Jalim, Belladonna was working on plant monsters and cloning and any other major projects.
Have monsters cloning. As she thinks, would I have to make any kind of roll to like see if like she remembers anything?
You wouldn't have to roll. There's not a lot more she was doing. You
Mm-hmm.
probably would put two and two together that she was doing something with the power enhancement serum via the
Mm-hmm.
gargoyle.
I mean, other than cloning plant monsters, she did bastardize my project, which was a power booster, or rather, a temporary strength enhancement. And she'll show Nary like a small sample. It boosts your power tenfold, but it kills you. They haven't worked out that particular kink out yet, but I did.
Okay, I'm kind of seeing where this is going. Okay, no, I'm not. Point being, whatever Young is doing is just part one of this plan, and I don't yet know where the other directors fit into this.
Probably.
Well, certainly, if that is the a guaranteed side effect of the serum, they could easily have just mind controlled all the heroes to drink it, and that would have been the end of that. So that's probably
So
not their end game.
right now they're at this point they're probably just trying to refine it so it doesn't kill whoever drinks it. Because let's be honest, if certain heroes died because they drank it, that would be pretty noticeable. So if anything, they're probably using the heroes or the young, God forbid, the young heroes. She shakes the email as a sample size. So
I don't know if they would be that concerned about gathering samples. They seem to do just fine on those, I believe the term is suits that had attacked your apartment.
mm-hmm. Like those are all clones of the same guy.
That was one of she's always loved plant monsters, and I'm sure she had like a greenhouse going at all times, but her big project up to when you left was the cloning that she was working on.
Right.
So it would, the moment that the suits showed up at your apartment was kind of like, oh, she finished what she was working on type of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if there's no other forthcoming ideas, I think I might try and crack into this laptop. So Neri will get to work decoding that. The form will probably break up a little bit. At that time, Emily and Void Spawn Neri will want to speak to you.
Okay.
Okie dokie.
I already gave Outlander there his phone back, but he told me that Emily, your phone also was getting pinged last night.
It was. I even turned off my location services and it still was coming through, which is really creepy.
Yeah, so it concerned us too because, I mean, he had the thought and I had the thought that it was probably parasol related. So I looked into that, and as far as I can tell, it's not. I mean, if the company that made that app is a shill for Parasol, they go really deep down because I found no connections I could find between. What I did find, though, was concerning. I checked the connection, the back channels of it, and I found that you guys weren't the only ones getting pinged last night. Like, most people that had those apps installed at certain locations all got pinged last night at the same times, 5 minutes apart from each other.
Huh.
That is certainly curious. Any
That's really
connection
freaking
between
weird.
the people?
She's kind of dual wielding laptops at this point, but on her own, she'll pull up a cell map of Halcyon, like with the different cell towers, and she'll point out the pings went out at these 4 sectors, 5 minutes apart, bouncing between them one at a time, and they repeated 5 minutes later. There's different numbers of people at different locations. It didn't seem to be any rhyme or reason, but I haven't been able to figure out what the locations have to do with each other.
Can I attempt to cross-reference the map that she's shown me and the ping locations with Parasol facilities that she has mapped out?
Yeah, you can attempt to do so. How would I have you roll for that? That might be a plus superior.
Okay. Is that specifically an assess the situation? Because I do have a minus to that at the moment.
I will say it's a situation, but give it a bonus of your mundane modifier because you're dealing with something pretty basic here with cell phone towers.
Okay, so a bonus of 0, duly noted.
Okay, sure.
So it's a flat 2d6 then for me, because it's the minus is equal to my superior.
All right, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Oh,
Ooh,
nope.
no. Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, you're not making a lot of stuff out. I mean, even though you rolled badly, I will tell you that there's not a ton of crossover there. One of the areas was the park. That's where you were when you got pinged, and you know that there was that facility there. That's where you were in that facility when you got pinged. But other than that, there's not a ton of overlap.
Mhm.
As in, you also probably wouldn't peg there being a hidden parasol facility underneath Emily's house.
True. Unless. Dun dun dun.
Muscle sheep start digging.
Right down through the floorboards.
Oh God. Other than that, eventually what she'll get from the laptop is a couple of superficial things to start out with. One of the very first things that you guys will find access to is Dr. Young's research log. What's contained within are basically kind of like diary entries of him writing as he worked, and they range from eh, concerning to probably a little terrifying, as he talks about some of the modifications he made to his own brain recently. Those like mini obelisks you guys saw sticking out of his brain last you saw him uh, are fairly recent additions, it turns out.
Perhaps I am simply being paranoid, but it is worth considering the possibility, especially given that we saw him take control over multiple of his own employees, that any information we find in here is information that he wanted us to have.
A very interesting thought indeed. Further entries will include references to him working on this mind control tech. He'll definitely narrate a good bit about how he's always enjoyed the feeling of dominating individual minds, but spreading his consciousness to touch the minds of multiple people over large distances, that's a new scientific problem, and he almost waxes erotically about how he enjoys conquering that problem and is delighting in the resources that he's able to use from Parasol.
God damn, I'm glad I left when I did.
Given that he is a brain in a sphere, I think we can safely surmise from this that he is a power bottom.
So, should we just go down there, find that brain jar, kick the jar over, and stomp on it? Because keeping him alive is not going to help anybody if he can just mind control from a distance.
That plan would have Marrow's vote. And I would say probably the last bit of information in there is a little bit of coworker bashing, as he probably has a few not very encouraging things to say about, to a lesser extent, Echidna, but to a greater extent, Belladonna. He did not like her very much.
Hmm.
Uh, General criticisms being that she cares too much about the physical, and why she bothers so much with controlling her underlings when she could just dominate their minds, that kind of thing. And yeah, one creeper to another, so to speak.
Could be useful to play them against one another, but I suspect Belladonna probably is already aware of his general attitude towards her.
Probably.
And underneath all of that, there will be references to, if you will remember from when you were there, that laboratory was acting as like a storage facility for experiments at the time. That was the bait they were trying to lead the people that were sabotaging their facilities to, a la Nair.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of information about the experiment. I forget what I called it, but like the FM2B or whatever, which was Muzzle Fox. Uh, First in the series of three, it will specifically say genetically engineered creatures designed to maximize physical output and serve as blueprint for MXB for the final form, which will be the ultimate essence of the three combined.
Wait, there's a third one? Huh.
Muscle Sheep has concern.
If there is a muscle squirrel out there, all hell will break loose.
So, from the technical jargon, this is in technical jargon sort of what Muscle Fox has been ranting about, that the purpose of this experiment was to create subjects that would attempt to maximize their strength and then take those parameters and combine them into the most maximized strength creature.
So basically, we're supposed to fuse.
Yeah, basically.
I'm not sure how I feel on that front.
Sharpening your sword, you just gotta keep doing that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys don't want to sharpen your swords on each other.
At this point, unless anyone particularly doesn't want to help or doesn't care, can we get a group plus superior check?
Okay.
I tried.
Oh
Ooh.
dear.
Here.
It's kind of a mixed bag there, but interestingly enough, the one who is most helpful is Emily, as she seems really dedicated to helping with this laptop breaking and doing everything in her power to not speak with her fathers at this exact moment. But yeah, I mean, it takes all a while. There's a lot to sift through, probably more annotated notes and stuff, which probably get tired of reading after a while, but you guys will find a pseudo directory, at least a map of the locations that some of the stored experiments were transported from. Um, some of them overlap with facilities that Neri had already found. A few of them are new, including one which is in a location very familiar to you, Richter.
Mm-hmm.
It's a secret Parasol biotech lab in Parasol Solar HQ.
Well, guess it's time to go back home. Jillem says, well, I wonder. She pulls out her old ID card. Is this still valid?
Oh, that depends on what mall security Parasol hired to do their thing.
Yeah. Actually, Jillem looks a bit doubtful, but then her eyes light up like, wait, this actually gives us an in. Assuming Bob is still there working security. Yes, I know. Bob is a friend of mine. I know him. Um, and given this whole junior thing going around, I can just say you guys are there tailing me for the day. What do you think?
We could be your interns.
Yeah.
Indirect route is preferable to breaking into the place.
Right. Because, the thing is, and she'll just turn to Neri, I don't know how exactly or how well you know Belladonna, or when you've worked with her, but I've honestly never heard of anything about you until, just now, or until, Young said you were also a prodigy of Belladonna's. But assuming your ID card still works, we could sneak them in.
She'll kind of drum her fingers on the desk and just look at you with pursed lips. I don't have an ID card.
can you make one?
No.
Thing is, I had a contact inside Parasol, but I don't know if he's brain controlled.
If Parasol is mind controlling all of the heroes in the city, I think it's safe to assume that most of their own employees are already mind controlled.
Yeah. Then in that case, I'm gonna have to call someone. And she pulls out her phone, and on the screen it'll say Brim.
It'll say Brim.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you may make that phone call.
And it's a weapons and tech expert.
Okay, I see them. Is that what's the bit about their backstory?
They don't like Parasol. What they do like is how easy their tech is to recreate. So they just do it. They do it mainly as a personal favor for Jilim, because Jilim helps them out when she can. And any chance they can get to stick it to Parasol, they'll take it.
So kind of like a counterfeiter, basically.
Pretty much.
Okay, I can see that.
And the last person there, Charlotte Johnson for Cosmic Artifacts. Imagine someone who's incredibly spaced out half the time, goes on and on about being one with the universe and all that drivel, but when something important is, they get super serious.
Okay, so you've got your Gabora stuck back there too.
Pretty much. So she just dials. Alright, here goes something. And she hits the send. Ringtone.
Let's see, I'd imagine there's some kind of power metal ringtone there, but eventually it will be picked up and the answer will be, "This better be good, Jalen."
Hey, Brim, long time no talk. So, how do you feel like sticking it up Parasol's unconsensually?
Okay, well, on a given good day, I would always be down for that, but in case you've been sticking your head under rocks, not a good idea today. Not after last night.
True, but here's the thing. Have you seen that whole bit about junior heroes going on and on?
Yeah, they're trying to get my nephew boy in there.
Here's the thing. As an employee, I'm allowed to take in a few interns. So I know a few people who are willing to also dig further in, but I kind of need your help to get them in.
Okay, Jalim,
Mm.
been a while since we talked. You're pretty persona non grata at Parasol right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which trust me, good job. Gotta give you the thumbs up on that one. You really did stuck it to him. But I don't know how you're gonna get in 2 feet from that front door.
Look, if Bob is there, I can get him to let me in. Because Bob is still there. Like they still haven't fired him yet. I don't know why.
Okay. If that's true, what can I do to help you?
I need a counterfeit ID, same one I had, and I can passes. And if you want, I can grab some stuff from the inside and get it to you as a trade.
Okay. I will. An ID isn't that hard. That I can do for you. But you gotta understand that right now, they're gonna be on pretty high alert, right?
Right.
I'll get you the ID, but you gotta do something for me first before I let you go get yourself blown up in there.
Alright, what you need?
Well, I kind of just said that my little nephew boy has been invited to that junior hero bullshit.
Mm-hmm. You want me to take him off that list?
I need him out of there, Jalem.
I can do that. Like, she looks to Azir, who I'm assuming is like fiddling with another bit of technology.
Probably hovering over Nari while she's on the laptop.
I can do that for you.
Okay, so last I heard, his stupid mother was taking him to the H2A building this afternoon. I have a feeling if he goes in there, it'll already be too late. So if you can somehow get him before he goes in there, we got a deal. If he comes out with like those robot people that have been coming out downtown, I'm afraid you'll have to find someone else to help you, Jalem.
Deal. Send me a picture and we'll scout the place out.
She will agree and probably hang up after that.
Mm-hmm. And Julian will turn to address the group. Alright, so I have our inn. Thing is, I need to do something to help her out.
What is that?
So my contact has a nephew who was invited to this hero thing. She wants her to not be involved in that. And I'm assuming her phone will beep and she'll get a picture.
Yeah, you will get a probably casual shot of a young, I don't know, 14-year-old boy, blue hoodie, red sneakers, I don't know, like a spiky brown hair. Looks like he, the kind of kid that skateboards.
Mm-hmm. So we have to stop this kid from getting into H2A. We do that, we have our inn.
So are we to kidnap him then?
That's an idea. She didn't exactly say how to stop him, just to stop him from being involved in that. She'll turn to Hugo and I keep forgetting the other one's name, I'm sorry.
Scott.
She'll turn to Hugo and Scott. Any ideas that don't involve, anything illegal?
They'll, at least Hugo will kind of scratch his chin and say, well, I mean, assuming they haven't totally changed the security of the place, to get into the H2A like that, there's only really one entrance you can go in, and the nearest public transport there would be the overland trolley, which that lets out at the street corner of 23rd and Awning, and there's an ice cream shop there.
Hmm. Actually, now that you mention that, I do remember Parasol doing on-the-spot interviews, like just right there on the street before letting people in. I still have this. You can't tell that it's invalid right from just by looking at it. I could pull this off, but we're all gonna have to coordinate this because I'm pretty sure. And she refers to herself, highlight, Azure, like pretty much the whole crew, like Emily, Titania, Mary, and Nero. They'll probably have our faces on a billboard somewhere as to look out for. So we're probably going to need to coordinate this. Thoughts?
If they are on the lookout for us openly kidnapping this child will certainly draw more attention to him than less.
Right, but I'm not looking to kidnap him. I'm looking to actually act as a on-the-spot interviewer, so to speak. Like, we can actually move into that place. I can try to prolong him as long as I possibly can. And then, I don't know, she'll look at the two muscles and say, "You two cause a commotion. Spar on the street, maybe? Test your might against each other?"
To cause distraction.
Yes.
Muscle Sheep can do this.
How does this prevent him from joining the H2A?
So my line of thought is, I either put it, I as the interviewer can instill on him that he's not mentally prepared yet, or that he's not mature enough yet. Like, give him time to grow, give him some more explore, get him more worldly experiences, stuff like that. And just like drop something along the lines of, while you do have a promising career in the future, I feel as if, as you are right now, it is not your time, but it will come. Something along those lines. Like, nothing that I'm gonna crush the kid's dream. I don't want to do that. Just let him know that he needs to grow up or something. I don't know.
But out of character, this is what's confusing me, is you said you were going to use your ID badge,
Yeah.
but that's for Parasol, not for H2A.
Like, I can say that, like, H2A and Parasol are having a little... Well, they're working together as a joint operation. That's what got this whole thing started, and I'm part of the process. Like, I'm one of their first initiates, so to speak.
Okay.
And just for the record, Jalem, you do need to mark the extra obligation with Helen.
Yep.
And I think you need to mark one from Julius that you didn't mark from last.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
And hello, Dan.
Hi, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Well, here, but whatever.
You had a giant you had a giant dog sit on you,
Why?
so Void can mess with your phone.
What did you do to my phone?
Actually, nothing this time.
Okay. Whew,
You
that's
didn't
good.
break it, so to speak.
Okay. Side note, because I just finished making it. I know it's shitty. I know it's in paint, but I just put in the chat for Azur and anyone else that wants to look at it, like maybe Emily. That's the 4 cell towers that were pinged with the GPS location thing that Neri found.
The upper left, the top left star say?
H1.
I was going to ask, I did have another thought about that. Would it be possible to, using when each of the towers was pinged, because you said they were pinged at slightly different times over 5 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
would it be possible to track like which one was hit in which order?
You could. That would be top. It went top left, moved south, and then it moved up to the right, and then towards the center. It kind of made a Z type of move.
That is really strange.
So I would say top left is somewhere you guys don't know. Bottom left is the park. Emily is L8, and 2P is maybe closer to the H2A building.
What have I missed?
Alright, so you guys gathered back at Emily's house. You kind of have round tabled it. All the allies are there. Talking about the sticky situation you guys have been found yourselves. Highlight your phone was jacked by Void Spawn, who enhanced it again, but this time it worked. And
Like he actually enhanced it
Yeah, he did.
instead of like fake enhancing it like last time. Okay, got it.
And whatchamacallit, so that was able to find out that the light beam that mind controlled the building did come from below, not above. So the machine is apparently below ground, so that's helpful. Some information about the phone tag that happened to Emily and Void Spawn, and information about a potential Parasol lab hidden in Parasol Solar HQ, the building where you guys had your first adventure together last summer.
Just to be clear, that Z pattern that also repeated on the second time around. It wasn't a different pattern the second time.
Correct. It was the same pattern 5 minutes apart. Right. But I believe that you guys wanted to go stop this kid.
Yep. And actually, now that we have highlight here, you could actually pose as. So basically, our plan is to get all of you into Parasol HQ. And the thing is, H.E.L.P has an ID, but it's kind of rendered defunct. So her plan was to pose as an interviewee, from a joint initiative between Parasol and the H2A, and try and convince this kid that, yeah, you do have like a promising future ahead of you, but at the moment you're not ready. So we're gonna have to ask that you take the time to grow up, to mature a little, and then we'll call you again. And now that we have Highlight, who's also celebrity, we'd have him pose as an initiate of this conjunction between the H2A and Parasol.
So I just have to do some acting.
Pretty much.
I am down for that.
So, and the thing is, with Highlight, we have the celebrity influence.
Something else you missed. A lot of people got them, but you also would have received an email earlier this morning inviting you officially to the H2A Young Hero program, promising mentorships and summer camps and training and all of.
Got it.
And probably yours came coupled with like a text from your manager, like emphatically in all capitals, telling you like, "This is it. This is your chance."
This is it. What you've been waiting for.
Mentorship.
Finally.
Just think you could be guest appearing with Fourfold Justice.
Oh no. All the 4 puns.
So, sounds like you guys are heading to intercept this boy, correct?
Yep.
To the
And
Batmobile.
Also, she would have highlight a picture of the kid they're trying to stop.
What does he look like?
Younger than most of you. He's probably maybe not quite out of middle school yet, getting close. Kind of looks like he skates too much skateboard and doesn't do enough homework. Blue hoodie type of deal. Spiky
Nice.
brown.
Uh-huh.
He is the nephew of one of H.E.L.P's contacts who despite the context, this warnings has been lured in by this Young Heroes program business. Yeah, so to the Batmobile, bat signal scene transition. Assuming you fly them there in your Kirby Craft would.
I imagine Scott would not let me drive the car, so yeah, I'm using the Kirby Craft.
No car. In fact, they do not let you anywhere near the garage.
That is understandable.
All right, well, you guys will arrive there. Let's see. How about? I don't know if you guys are going to see him right away. How about you do another group investigate check that the assess situation, see if you can find this kid in the crowd.
So we all roll for it?
Yeah.
Assess the situation. Okay. Oh, this is not going to be good. Oh no.
Oh dear.
Oh.
Nice.
Muscle Sheep is just too excited to go for a ride.
Plus, he's sticking his head out the window.
Yes.
Okay, so scene transition happens. You park your spaceship in an alleyway that you can find void spawn. You guys drop down and you start to fan out, and almost immediately the comic book presents trouble on the next page in the spread format. It shows you. Oh God. The openable window.
Just roll it down. What could go wrong?
Yeah, in the vacuum of space. So there's a full page spread of the front of the H2A building. You guys are still across the street from it, but already overnight, there's been some changes. The presence on the ground around the H2A building is much higher than it was before. Jalim, you see no fewer than 4 suits that are now standing security at the doors. Speak of the devil, fourfold justice is making the rounds, shaking up to 4 hands at the same time of different passerbys and talking to them.
Simultaneously?
Simultaneously.
Yes.
And just in general, there are heroes on the ground all around this place, and you might not see them personally, but the comic would definitely show each of them has the golden ring around their eye.
Looks like we're gonna have to be a bit more discreet on this one.
You guys do your best effort. Oh, sorry, Dan.
Huh?
Were you about to say something?
Oh, I was gonna say, I don't know what that word means.
Oh, nice.
Being discreet. Not in my vocabulary.
Well, you're not very discreet, but you and Jalim are the ones that managed to catch a look at this blue hoodied boy, which is good because you two are the ones that saw the picture of him. The rest of you perhaps are a bit too distracted by the hero presence here and aren't able to find.
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming Jilem or who spots him first.
Jalim rolled higher, so I would say you.
So Jilem will just like tap highlights it, just like showtime, buddy.
I was made for the spotlight.
All right, you know your role.
More or less.
All right,
We can just wing it, right?
yeah. Let's see how well we can improv. And she like just rubs her like face several times and then just like taps her cheeks a few times to put on her best like business smile face. And to highlight, it's very unnerving that H.E.L.P can smile.
Yeah, I can see that panel.
She can't. Wait, what?
No, because
That's
like this is the
funny.
first time you've ever seen H.E.L.P smile that doesn't include
Oh.
some sort of violent undertone.
Uh huh.
Probably freaked highlight out. Like you have more than resting bitch face.
News to me. No, just kidding.
Okay, so Highlight and Jilem, you approach, and you know, Scott's warning actually came kind of in handy here. You spot them sitting out on the outside seating area of the ice cream parlor with
Mm-hmm.
a rather stern looking woman who, at least Jalem, you can definitely see a familial resemblance to your contact.
Mm-hmm.
She's there, along with a kid that looks unhappy to be here, but somewhat mollified by the ice cream he is eating.
Mm-hmm. And Jim will just like quietly like clear her throat, like, Miss Prim.
She'll look up at you and say, "Oh, that's my maiden name. I'm Prescott now. How can I help you?"
Oh, I apologize for that. Um, Hi, and she'll extend a hand. My name is Jill. I'm a initiated of a new program that Parasol set up with the H2A. It's like sort of to train the new heroes, kind of like the email we had sent out earlier in the day. And I was, told to meet with you today.
Oh, well, we haven't even gone inside yet. They work fast here, don't they?
Yeah, we at Parasol, we really value efficiency. And she'll just gesture to the open seats. May we?
Well, sure, go ahead. Yeah, but he's just finishing his ice cream up, and sure enough, the kid is downing the last bits of his Superman flavored ice.
And Jill will just chuckle. Don't eat too fast, buddy. Don't want you getting the brain freeze.
He'll
And
look, he'll look up and kind of look at Highlight. His eyes just pass right over you, Jalim, but he looks at Highlight and he kind of cocks his head. You're that internet hero, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I say it too excitedly. I'm like, and then I calm down a little bit. I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah, that's me.
I seen you around. You did that interview a while ago with Apology, didn't you?
Did I? Yeah, I did. Yep, that was me.
Huh. Well, hot damn, they do have some. And his mother just slaps him on the side of the head.
Oh, he cursed.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But he's like, so, well, I'm I'm Street, Blue Streak. Your Highlight, she's nobody. But so you tell me, what you do? What you doing here at the H2A?
Wait, was that me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. You cut off at the end.
Sorry. Yeah, what you doing at the H2A Highlight?
Just part of the mentorship program.
All right. Scene transition here slightly. The three that did not, whatchamacallit, the three that did not make their checks. I'm assuming you guys are at a different part of the street, kind of hiding from the pro heroes here. Muscle Sheep, you're just kind of doing Muscle Sheep things, but Emily and Void Spawn, it happens again. Your phones get that GPS request.
Like this.
Stranger danger.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as the person with the least connections here on Earth, perhaps I should accept and see what happens.
Maybe not. I mean, not with the rest of us here. I don't know. I don't want you put in danger.
Well, in the worst case scenario, I can simply dispose of the phone. It is not as though I have a home that I could be tracked to.
So, and just to reiterate, this near the H2A building would be roughly the 2P cell tower, so the last one in the sequence that would get dinged.
Can I contact? I don't think she would have come with us. Can I contact Nary and see if that pattern popped up again? If she's able to track that.
You can do so. Yeah, I will say that Nary, Muscle Fox, like her whole squad had a different objective that they were going to take care of. They were going to look into some of the other Parasol facilities that they had found out that wasn't the one you were going after. But you can call her. She'll answer with, what is it? Did you guys run into trouble already?
We received another one of those pings. I was curious if you could determine if it followed that same pattern between the towers.
Hold on. And you hear, like, quieter in the background, her bark at Marrow and say, "Hold the door open. I have to check something. They can't go an hour without being babysat." Right. A few minutes pass. You hear more muttering on the phone. Titania, you hear just barely because she's kind of quiet. She says, "Is that Void Spawn? Can I talk to him?" And Mary tells her, "Fuck,
Wait, tells her to what?
Fuck off.
fuck no."
Oh no.
Aww.
And eventually she'll get back to you and say, "Yeah, it's the same one. Well, no, the same 4 and then 2 more, M12 and back to E4. That's weird. So it's 5 but 6 now."
Still no discernible connection between the towers either, it seems.
See, back it ended in the park this time, but this extra one is down by the slums. Okay, but yeah, still not a lot of circuitry there.
Out of character, what was L8 again?
L.A. is the ritzy people neighborhood. That's where Emily lives.
So L8 is around where Emily lives. 2P is the H2A. E4 is the park. And what was the one on the top left?
That is, what was I gonna say? I don't remember where I gave it. I'm gonna say downtown strip.
I'm not entirely certain, but oh, that was something I was going to ask. Also, was this new one in the slums? Is that around where Marrow and Titania were hiding out?
Yes, I would say it is.
So far, it seems as though the only connection I can think of is that they are places that our group has visited recently.
Well, it would make sense why they're pinging your phones if they're tracking you, but I don't understand the point of the new ones.
Well, the new ones would also seem to follow where Marrow and Titania had been hiding out and where your new hideout is in the park.
She'll mull over that a bit. You'll hear her do some more clicky clacking on her laptop, and she'll say, "The weirdest part is that there isn't a clear origin. It's like it just appears at the H site. There's no source."
Perhaps someone is accessing the tower directly, manually?
Might be. You might have to check it out, Void Spawn, if you can avoid getting captured that long.
I have yet to be captured.
Well, you guys are going right into the lion's den, so try and keep that track record up. Alright?
Tell her to stay safe and let her be on her way, and I'll relay to Beatbox and Muscle Sheeb what I have learned and offer to check out that cell tower.
I would say the last little box before another scene transition back, right before you hang up, you just, the box in Titania's words would be like, "No, wait, please, I want to," and then hang.
Huh.
Poor
And-
Titania.
I know.
And then back to Highlight and Jalem. Resume your conversation.
Mm-hmm. She would have Jillian would let the banter between Blue Streak and Highlight go on over there, where she would have addressed the mother, Prescott, was it?
Yeah.
Like, specifically.
Yeah, the mother is relatively interested. I mean, you would get the vibe that she is definitely a let me speak to your manager type of mom, but you're giving her what she wants, so she's giving you the time of day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was totally picking up the Karen vibes.
And also, when we read that email, did it say that they would have to like send them that they want a resume of what they can do, what their achievements, if any, pretty much like a job resume?
It didn't request a resume because also these are kids, and the thing about heroes is that for a lot of them, their exploits are fairly public.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely did basically say, if interested, present yourself at H2A headquarters where you will be evaluated by a professional hero, that kind of.
Mm-hmm. All right. And this entire time, like, what is the conversation between like Blue Streak and Highlight been? Actually, no. Let's let that conversation play.
Yeah, so Blue Streak will look up at Highlight and he'll say, "So is it true that you guys, like, blew up a plant monster, like, the first time you got together?"
And then I think back, did we blow it up? But I'm not gonna care about facts and only gonna just embellish the story. Like, yeah, we totally blew that plant monster up. Guts everywhere, even though he doesn't even know if plants have guts.
Dude, that's so sick. I mean, my mom doesn't let me, she won't let me join any other hero team, so I've just been by myself, but I'm so jealous.
Oh yeah, it was pretty sick, pretty great, totally cool. I'm glad you follow me.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but I mean, you pop up in the circles and all.
Just twitching a little bit, shaking it off.
Like, Jilem is just visualizing, like, as Highlight as like a statue that says Pride on it, and that kid just like punctured a hole through it.
Well, speaking of, don't speak too quickly there, Jalem, as he will pull out his own phone and say, Although, I mean, you guys haven't been all cool. I love this. And he pulls up a saved video of the GIF that he has cherished for a long time of the silver screen dragging Jim around in that invisible lasso.
Yes. I'll just like clap my hand over my mouth so I don't burst out into laughter.
Like, as Jill, like, she's smiling, like, ah, right. Although, like, there's a back panel shot, like, she's just like a massive, like, vein throb, like, oh my god.
I'm surprised they let such a low tier hero like her be the representative.
And at that, like, Jillem's eyes just, like, seem to sparkle, and, like, internally she's like, gotcha. Alright. And then, like, with the conversation with the mother, she's like, while they were having that conversation, so, like I said earlier, Parasol and the H2A are starting a joint initiate program where we have young aspiring heroes register with the H2A. At the same time, they'll also learn from Parasol what it means to take responsibility, what it means to serve the city for the greater good, you know, that sort of thing. And hearing like the comments about the disparaging thing, that's when like Jillian will actually play her first card in her hand and say, "So we actually did do some background checks. Nothing intrusive, mind you. Just just we have like a basic idea of who our aspiring hero is, what the like how they are, how they would react mentally, how they respond to certain stimulus, so to speak. And I do see a promising like career in like if you wish to pursue to be a hero, I do see that in you.
Well, I mean, that would be about the only promising thing he's got a career in at this rate. If his grades don't improve,
Mm.
Oh, that would be
Well,
totally easy.
and at that is where I ultimately, and it pains me to say this, I have to reject your application. I have gone through pretty much everything that has been given to me. I have combed everything at least 5 times so I can go over, I can get a glimpse of, I can get a better understanding of how you are as a person, how.
about at that point, the
Mhm,
panel will show at 1 second Blue Streak was seated. The
mhm.
next he is behind you and he's taken the clipboard you were reading this off on, and he's standing behind you like looking at it like, what do you mean? I'm the best hero the city's ever seen at this age.
And Jillian will just like say, and things like that is why I have to turn you away. Your arrogance needs to be curbed.
The mom pipes up and is trying to tell her son to sit down, but he's like just flipping around the table quickly, like you can't really follow him with his eyes as he's just turning over leaf after leaf. And it's like, I've never done anything wrong. I mean, like, yeah, my grades aren't great. I mean, yeah, I broke that police car that one time, but I mean, you're not even y'all were as cool as I was at 14.
And she looks to the mother. He broke a police car?
Well, to be fair, I mean, the officer was trying to give him a speeding ticket when he was on foot. I mean,
I mean, I saw the thing about the police ticket. There was no mention about a broken car. You do realize the cop could have taken you to court for that, right? It,
he would have had to have catch me first.
and at that, she gives the mother a kind of, "Do you see where I'm going with this?" look.
Look, I appreciate the candor, but if it's all the same, I'd really like to follow the instructions on the message we received and have him be evaluated by a professional hero, darling.
And at that, Jillian plays her second card, the Parasol employee badge, which is in this case like because she worked with Belladonna, it's a little different, but it is ultimately recognized as a high-ranking Parasol member, I assume.
Yeah, I would say you probably had pretty good access before.
And she says, "Ma'am," and she shows her the card and puts it on the table. "I work with the higher ups. I know what they think. I am pretty much their right hand. And I can tell you right now, his arrogance is going to do him more harm than good. He needs to curb this first."
All right, so while a couple things happen, Jalim, you need to what's the move called? Roll to provoke the mom to drop this. So that's going to be a plus superior roll for.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, highlight you back. Perhaps not. Okie dokie. Well, at the very least, that's a very good roll. So just to be clear, on a 10 plus, they rise to the bait and do what you want. Okay. Cool. All right. Yes, they do both.
Mm-hmm.
She looks a bit dejected at that. Kind of opens her pocketbook and rifles out. She's printed out the email that she received and like had written notes on the back of it and all. It's like there's no chance we can get in to see like even fourfold. I mean, not a chance at all.
And she like gestures to Fourfold, who's like doing all sorts of like press things, like going around shaking hands and all that. Like, there's a reason why I'm here, ma'am. Like, here's the thing: just because I'm saying no now, does not mean that he cannot try again. This is just take it as a way to improve yourself, so he can try again next year.
She'll purse her lips and kind of pack her purse back up and say, "All right, Johnny, we're going. Come on." And he will just he'll zoom again. He'll deposit your clipboard into the trash can that is farthest away from where you're sitting currently. He'll zoom back to highlight and shake his hand and say, "Well, it was nice meeting you anyway, big bro."
Wait, what did he say? What was that last part?
Big bro.
Big bro.
Just like, oh, any time. Just like, oh, he thinks I'm a big brother figure. I've made it. I'm so official.
Try not to let Miss Stick Up her ass over there drag you down too much. And his mom will hit him again.
Good kid, I'd say, like, as they were leaving.
Yeah.
The mom starts to drag him away, but quickly that reverses as he starts speedstering away and then she is being drugged.
She's being dragged by him?
Yeah, he moves very quickly.
And at that, Jen will just sit there and just like, well, that went well.
Surprisingly so.
Yeah.
I think we kinda got him.
Yeah. And at that, like, she's just like texting Helen said and saying that we did our best to convince his mother that he wasn't ready for the program, although she puts in parentheses, your nephew was kind of, and she just trails off with like with dots.
Probably the last panel there. Yeah, right before the panel changes to the next scene again, you'll just get a notification on your phone and she'll have finished your sentence and as it says out of control question mark.
Dot dot dot. Yeah, let's go with that.
Right. So just to be clear, there, Void Spawn, did you not pick up the GPS tracker?
I wouldn't have enabled it. I think if we're going to do anything, the idea was to go check out that tower. But I would have wanted to do that quickly, so I don't know if we would have waited for the interview to be done because the pings were only like a 10-minute total.
Okay, yeah. So you guys wanted to go right ahead over there then? Was that just going to be you, or Emily? Are you also going to follow after him? I heard that in person, but you did not transfer that.
I'll go with them.
All right, so with their muscle sheep bodyguard, the two of you kind of make a break for the that downtown cell tower there, which isn't the closest to where you were, but you'll do your best. Let's. How do you wish to avoid detection by the heroes on the ground around here?
Well, we had said we took the ship here, so I assume the easiest way would be to head back to wherever it was we landed and go stealth.
Okay, yeah, that can totally be done. So you backtrack to your ship, and you can get in that. You'll follow the directions to the cell tower, and you'll get there. Like I said, this is kind of like a downtown street. There's maybe some malls and different eateries here. Uh, the cell tower is behind a couple of larger buildings and somewhere that's not too in the way. Red lights flashing up top. You'll park in a nearby rooftop.
I guess the next plan of action is to head down and see if it looks to have been tampered with.
Emily, you have some experience, not with the physical tower here, but definitely, cell networks and radio programming and stuff. That's up your alley.
Mm-hmm.
If you would like, you could make a unleash your powers check to see if there's any kind of sonic influence or disturbance going on around here. Well, potential. You will, let's say, as you guys are descending Void Spawn, you watch her fiddle with her beatbox headset as she's like trying to tune it to different signals and even maybe receive the signal of this tower in particular. And as she about gets there, you see sparks pop off of her boombox helmet as a good portion of the circuits in it kind of short circuit.
Are you okay?
Yeah, a little static shock, but I think I'm alright.
You'll hear a decided ringing in your ears, Emily.
I have been through electric shocks before. They can be quite painful.
I'll be alright.
Well, you will make it down to the cell tower anyway. It doesn't appear from initial glance. Oh, God. What are you doing?
What am I doing? Nothing.
You make it down to the cell tower, and upon initial inspection, you don't see any masked Pedros like you did at the water treatment facility.
I don't suppose there's anything obvious like exposed circuitry or anything that would indicate it had been physically tampered with.
You could assess the situation to try and find out.
Sure, I'll give that a shot. Nope.
So yeah, I mean, despite you two's solid efforts to try and investigate this a bit, it's turning out to be kind of a frustrating trip. You're not really seeing much physically that would give any clue that something's been going on here. In fact, shortly after you arrive, the ping will start again at this location, and your phones will get the message once again. But even as it's sent out, you guys are standing there, and nothing physically appears to be the miss.
Let's see. I'm thinking of this, but I'm not sure if you'd want to roll with it or not. But using the alien tech move again, if there'd be anything, since I do have my ship here, that I could attach to the cell tower that would allow it to backtrack the signal.
Okay, interesting. Your ship is a science vessel, correct?
Yes.
I could make an argument that it might have some sort of technology along that line. You would definitely have to jury rig something, but you could attempt it.
Yeah, I'll give that a shot. Worst case scenario, I take down a cell tower and get charged with vandalism.
If you don't exist.
That's true.
Ooh.
Right? So yeah, you can attempt to hotwire your spaceship to the radio tower. This is going to be a good example of things that could go wrong.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I will say you make a is it superior or freak? Alien tech is freak.
Yes.
You make a freak roll to try and get the freaky science of this to work. Emily, you can totally help with this. If you will make me a plus mundane roll, since you're part of the AV club, make me a mundane roll to see if you can help him attach this. At least you guys are in sync.
True.
I don't know if that's you guys or more roll 20 being roll 20, but
That's true as well, yeah.
all right. So yeah, I mean, not perfect. Definitely, like I said, it's jury rigged. You guys, it's not an ideal lab experiment type of thing, but you are able to fuse weird cable tentacle things coming out of your ship into the cell tower. And Emily, that's probably the grossest thing you've seen him do, but it's kind of cool.
It always comes back to tentacles.
Yeah, yep.
But you guys will enter back to the well, you don't really have a cockpit in your ship because you're like in the engine. But anyway, you'll filter back to your ship and its displays, and you'll attempt to trace this source, trace the source of this ping. And what's going to happen is every keyboard or heads-up display or even the windshield wipers, if your ship has windshield wipers, will
Sure.
start. They'll all start to act up instantly the moment you try and trace this thing. The windshield wipers are going 1, 2, stop for a minute, flap, 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 stop, flap, 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 stop, in almost a weird pattern. The different keyboards are hitting the same 4 code of 1, 2, 3, 4 button, 1, 2, 3, 4 button again. And it's just your entire ship is blinking in this 4 coded pattern.
Does it seem like either like Morse code or binary or anything like that would be recognizable?
If you, well,
I
would say
probably wouldn't know Morse code, but I would definitely know binary.
I was going to say it's probably in binary at this rate, and you probably, knowing you probably speak that or something. It's a similar code to the cell towers. I'm assuming you probably have an alien alphabet on your keyboards and stuff, but the code in translated to English would be H.E.L.P.
Well, that's not a promising sign.
It's like the opposite of good.
Which is bad.
Yeah.
If it's
Perhaps
not
we
good,
should
it's
enable the tracking.
Yes, seeing that now.
I'll go ahead and turn on my or accept the GPS tracking ping and just see what happens.
you send your GPS location. This app like I said, it allows parents to check where their kids are essentially. It's you send your GPS location, and then they send theirs back to you. You send yours, and you get 5 back. You get the location of the H tower, the location of the E tower, L, P, and the 5th one is an area deep under the slums.
And that's the M, and then it goes back to E again. It's help me.
That's concerning.
Yeah. And the last location it hits with this is just the slums. It doesn't go back to the park.
Correct.
I suppose it's directing us to the slums then.
Sorry.
Not wanting to keep the others out of this for too long, I guess we should contact them first before we head there.
That sounds like a good idea.
Right. A little bit of party splitting going on here. Jalim, you will get on your phone. Well, Jalim and Highlight, your phones will light up with texts from Void Spawn and Emily. They are tracking down that GPS signal, and it spells out a code. Help me, and they're concerned about that.
What could that mean?
It's a cry for help.
No sarcasm. It was a joke. Things that you laugh at.
Alright, calm it down. But it's like, who's sending it though? And then she'll send a text to Emily. Did either of you respond to it, or, let it track you?
Emily?
I'm sorry.
Jalim asked via text. Did either of you respond to it or let it track you?
Yeah, we turned our... Yeah, we approved it. We didn't write anything back, but
And she's like, where is this? Where is it asking you to go?
Void spawn and Emily, you guys would have seen it. Like I said, it flashed 5 different GPS locations real quick. It's all the different cell towers in the order again.
and she'll go ahead and convey that. Sorry, I had to step away for a minute, so I missed about a minute of what was going on.
Like, is there a location near us? So, is there a location near us that Highlight and I could check?
Yeah, the which one was it? The P tower is near the H.E.L.P building, actually.
It's not in it, it's just nearby, correct?
It's nearby, correct.
Alright. She'll send a text saying, Highlight and I will check the one near here.
You're being volunteered for things, Highlight.
I hate when I have to put in effort.
Oh, stop your belly aching. It's hero
Just
work.
kidding.
What's what you do? Anyway.
But it's
We'll
not
see.
public hero work.
You beat me to it.
Yeah, it's Batman hero work. Come on.
Alright, so you two are checking out the P tower. Void spawn, where are you directing the vehicle to next once you've unhooked?
I'm gonna check out the last one, the M.
Gotcha. Alright, you can head that way. I take it for now that you're not no one's pursuing the charge into the Parasol building plan for just this second.
Well, I'm not.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
Okay, so we'll let that pan rest there while it warms up. You guys will go to check out these different towers. All right. You guys will highlight in Jalem. You will be able to find the P tower relatively easily. It's maybe a block behind the H.E.L.P building. The hardest part is avoiding detection from all the suits that are guarding the H.E.L.P building. What you find at the tower is a lot like what the others found at the first tower. It doesn't appear to be anything physically the matter with it. There's no masked people waiting there. But what you will find is that at least this area is completely devoid of any H.E.L.P guards or observants or cameras. They are not watching this spot.
Then why even bother coming?
Because someone or something needs help. And it's like Jalem just like looks up or just looks around, like there's nothing that immediately sticks out.
Nothing terribly, no. In the physical. Now, would you like to try and mess with your phone at all? As far as I had heard up until now, only Void Spawn and Emily had this app downloaded.
She'll turn to Highlight, hey, do you have that app thing?
Oh, to me?
Yeah.
I think everyone has that app, right?
No, I don't.
Well, yeah, but you don't have anything.
Well, yeah, because I don't see a point to it.
Fair enough. I would have the app too. I don't know if I would have gotten the notifications though.
Okay. Well, if you've had the app the whole time, then yeah, you probably would have been getting these signals too.
Let's just say it got lost in my sea of notifications.
That's a valid possibility.
I'm like, oh, is that what that was? Didn't notice. Too concerned with checking my likes.
Jillian will
So-
again just roll her eyes.
So you guys will pop that open. You can start looking around and through the app. Highlight. There is. You've been getting the pings recently from this afternoon's bout of signals, and there is an outstanding request for your GPS location.
That's fishy.
But like, hit
It doesn't say
accept.
from where, right?
It does not. It's set up so that all of these notifications are done as if they're your parent requesting help or requesting your signal.
Oh, like my parents would ever do that. What happened? What would happen if I allowed it?
Would
That's
you
the
like
thing.
to?
I don't know.
They'd be able to find me. It's like that's
You
what I
guys
want.
would know that we did.
Like,
Mhm.
and Jillian would have told you that Emily and Void did that.
Fine. We'll see what happens with them.
So you're not going to accept it then?
Well, Jilem's saying it's a bad idea, right?
No, I'm saying to do it.
Oh, I thought you said not to do it. Okay, so I'll just do it.
All right, yeah. You flip the switch and you send off your GPS location there. It's a brief pause before you get 6 locations back: an H tower, the E tower, the L tower, the P tower, the M tower, and then at the very end, a new location.
Huh. What's it? What's it? What is it?
If you pull up your Google Maps and put it in, not sponsored, but if you put, if you put
Nice.
it in, you will find it's a computer store.
Huh. Is it
An
nearby?
apple.
Say what, Jillian?
Is it nearby?
Not super, but I mean it's in town.
Oh, you up for, I don't know, foot trip? Because we already did what we needed, so. Highlight?
Oh my god, sorry. My Discord was being weird. Can you repeat that?
So she just turned to you, so you're up for just a little trip?
I'm always up for an excursion, please.
Alright. Well, we are walking, just so you know.
All the more power for people to see me.
Sure.
All right. Void Spawn and Emily, you guys will make it to the slum tower, which, upon closer inspection, isn't really that close to Marrow's old hideout, but it is in the same general area.
No sign of anybody nearby poking around with it, or seems to be waiting for us to spot somebody like us.
You will find a hobo near the cell tower who has one of those barrel fires going, and he's warming his hand. I'm sure he's very interested in the spaceship that is floating nearby.
Who would?
Watch as he looks up at it, takes another drink of beer, rubs his eyes. Do you suppose that I'm saying this to Emily? Do you suppose that is the person we are waiting for, perhaps in disguise?
I really don't think so, Void.
Well, I do not see anybody that seems to be in any danger. And we didn't get that additional location, did we?
You did not, but if you would like to open your apps, you can freely try and send your information again.
Maybe it's bugging out. You know how if you touch it like 5 or 6 times, maybe it'll update. So probably do that.
You put it in, you get back probably, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 locations of help, and then computer store in a different location of town, a software bank, a server farm in town, just all kinds of random computer related sites around Halcyon City.
Suspicious. That's weird.
Just rolling on a really weird hunch. First of all, would any of the team that I came to Earth with, would any of them have been tech experts?
I would, yeah, I would hazard to say you probably, most of you were pretty techy, but there might have been like a specific that was one of his objectives. Maybe his thesis was Earth tech, perhaps.
I'm gonna try to reach out to them, and assuming that this isn't them, try to get their opinion on what's going on.
Okay, you may do so. That might take a little bit of time to coordinate with them.
I do have I picked this up after the last session, a new move called Belong in Two Worlds that lets me contact my people for certain things.
All right, let me take a look at that real quick.
We come in peace.
Okay, yeah, you can definitely roll that. So that'll be plus superior.
Yeah, so I'll give that a shot.
Okay, cool. So you get a hold 2. So you get 2 of that resource essentially that you can spend if I'm reading that right.
That's how I read it. So I guess I'd probably do the consult your people's knowledge one, and just try to see what we try to gauge what the tech expert's opinion is on where the actual source is coming from if I feed him the data.
All right, gotcha. So we'll do this since we are approaching the end of the night session. You'll coordinate with your team. You'll get the kind of pass on the message that this is starting to sound like a bit of a wild goose chase. So you guys will reconvene. You'll pass this information on to your expert. Like I said, it'll take a bit of time for that to coordinate because maybe on a different part of the globe than you are. But he'll work that case. I'd say you probably would also pass that information on to Neri. I'm saying you probably set up like a 3-way communication with her and your contact since she might be able to help.
Yeah, sure. We're not exactly hiding, so
Yeah, so you'll get that message sent and they'll start working on that. As we're kind of actually working towards the close of this session here, Jalim, you'll get contacted before terribly much longer, and it's your resourceful friend there who has told you that if you check your normal drop-off place, your badge is waiting for you.
And she'll respond with a thank you. And then she'll just tap Void. By the way, on our way back, we gotta make a pit stop.
Ooh, where?
I just gotta pick something up.
Can do.
And while you're going about that, highlight, you'll get a text from your manager asking why you haven't shown up at the H2A building yet.
What do you mean? I was just there.
And
But
she'll tap her on the shoulder. No, you weren't.
I mean, no, I wasn't there.
Son, this is your
Okay.
big break. Like, why haven't you already signed up yet? I mean, I thought you were serious about this.
I had a lot of other things. You know, the famous or somewhat famous things that I need to do. It'll have to wait. I can do it next time or later today. Something like that. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye. And then just like end it with him.
Ah, gotcha.
So Jillian will just like look in. I'm assuming that's someone important?
Just my stick in the mud manager. Don't worry about it.
Hmm.
So we will close out tonight's issue, leaving on this two kind of three cliffhangery notes. You will retrieve your upgraded identification badge, Jalim. You are
Mm-hmm.
pretty certain it will get you inside any doorway within Parasol HQ you want to get into. So that is prepared for you. Second thing, Neri's group will infiltrate, and I'm assuming there'll be panels that would show this. They'll infiltrate some of their Parasol facilities they were going to check out. They don't find any kind of mind control laser, but they do find schematics for a piece of technology that is unlike anything Parasol's built thus far. Something subterranean that can affect a large area. It's as if they're planning more underground shenanigans.
Huh.
They're like doing what?
It's schematics for some sort of machine that underground that will affect a large area. They're not really sure exactly what it does yet.
Huh.
And the final cliffhanger, which would probably be the last panel of tonight's comic, will be you'll get your phone call back, Void Spawn. Your fellow science member will greet you and say, "Hello, friend. It is good to hear back from you. I hope your research is going well."
It is certainly proving very interesting.
Have you made great strides on your hypothesis yet? How many revisions are you through?
Several at this point. There are many predispositions I have had to dispose of.
Yes, I found Earth to be quite different than my first intentions. Their technology has proven to be very barbaric, but surprisingly resourceful. I mean, take for an instance the situation you sent me. I mean, I understand why you're confused. Physical interaction with a non-physical source. Your friend was very helpful, but unfortunately she was looking in the wrong place. The signals aren't real. They're coming from this internet that the humans created.
So the signals are being generated through the towers rather than sent through them?
Well, suffice it to say, something intelligent in the system is speaking to you.
And requesting help, if it is to be trusted.
Yes, I believe that was the conclusion we drew. It would appear that whatever the source is, it's perhaps trapped and does not want to be digital.
Hmm. Have you determined if there is any way to return communications with it?
I suppose if you found a physical location that was a good approximation, close enough to the server access, it could be done.
One of the signals was a server farm, if I remember correctly. Perhaps that would be a good first place to attempt.
You can definitely make an attempt there. Oh god, he would have probably addressed you by name, but I don't remember what your name is.
Yeah, I put that down somewhere. Xadisk.
Where is that written?
Let me copy paste it into the Discord.
Okay. Yeah, that would be a very good assumption, Xadisk, but I think you'll find that this will be difficult undertaking for corporeal beings. Do you think there are any energy life forms on this planet?
Oh, I'm certain there are, or at the very least, humans that have developed powers that would allow them to transform into such beings.
Oh, well, perhaps you're even speaking to one. Maybe he transformed and couldn't turn back.
That's true, and it would certainly give reason for requesting help. That it would be quite the predicament.
Yes, well, I will wish you the best of luck. Not sure what to make of these signals beyond that, but try not to let it bother you over much. I find that distractions from research can be hard to shake.
True, but as you suggested, it could be possible that this is a new power that I could study.
Indeed. And maybe that girl you sent me, she might be able to help. She does seem rather resourceful in this field, though not as much as I.
And, if you wouldn't mind, I'm sure she will probably attempt to contact you in the future about various matters. She seems very interested in your kind of work. I'm sure you two could possibly learn from one another.
Well, it's something I will consider, my boy, but yes, try not to accept too many distractions, as I just said, but she is rather a genius.
There's no reason, despite our different fields of study, that we cannot pass things along to one another.
'Tis a fair point, 'tis a fair point. But shortly thereafter, he will wrap up that conversation.
And at that point, I will go ahead and spend my other hold to clear a condition, and I will get rid of angry because talking with one of my fellows has calmed me down.
Yeah, I would say that his presence is, if anything, very lethargic. Right, so you've got you set there for a couple of little things you can look into. Someone trapped inside of the internet? Parasol HQ's doors lie open for you, And what else is Parasol planning with their underground trickery? You can find out next time on Matt.